Hey everybody, Matt Master here. Back with Luke Cage, and I'm going to do a full skill review and build. And even though I'd already got a skill review, that was before I actually got to play with the skills. So I'll give a better impression of what I thought of the skills, and then my build choice, and then I'll end it, and then I'll start up another one, and we'll do some gameplay. So Luke Cage, he's pretty good. Not a bad character at all. They seem to be going pretty tanky. You know, Emma was kind of tanky. You could go DPS if you wanted to. And Luke is kind of the same way. If you really wanted to, you could avoid all the tanky kind of stuff and go full DPS. And he will do a pretty good amount of DPS. A lot of people will probably disagree. But I'm really thinking those people are playing wrong. The first playstyle that I'm speaking of are the people that are maximizing all the characters in Hero's Call and trying to get this cooldown down. They say they can get the cooldown down to 1 minute, but I haven't seen the cooldown go down at all. Or maybe the duration goes up, but even with 100% duration, that's only going to be 35 seconds to get all 4 characters out every 2 minutes. So that's a lot of skill points going into having limited pets. So I kind of I don't know if boycott's the right word, but avoided that build style. And I went tanky. Even though you go tanky, and I say tanky, he could be a full tank if he wanted to. I don't think he would be as good as some of the full tanks out there. But he could definitely off-tank and be a good amount of DPS. He won't be Thor's off-tanky DPS, obviously, without God Blast. He's the only one with a God Blast ability. But he will do very, very well, and he will do very well on his own. So, going over here, I'm going to start with the Heroes for Hire skill line, and these are going to be the pets, for the most part. And you start off with Iron Fist for free, and he's a great pet. He's got healing chi to restore some health to you. You stay alive. You're not going to have any kind of problems at all. And he's going to be adequate while leveling up to 30, or in this case 28. 28 is the last level you actually get the skills. So you get it 2 levels earlier and then some other characters. Interesting. But at least until level 28, any extra points you have, you can obviously put into your pets. And I would go up each pet as you leveled. As soon as they became available, I would use the next pet, because they are that much more stronger as you go up. If you look at level 1, you know, he's 600 health, 64 defense, 70 dodge, 50 to 90 damage. And if you look at her, she's got obviously more health at 1 point, 1350, more defense, 480, more damage, 82 to 79. Some critical rating. She's got a big shockwave. That's pretty cool. And well, we'll get into her in a second. Iron Fist is basically melee. And then Tactical Offense, very nice skill. It adds movement speed, which he can use, and it adds critical rating. Not a super ton of critical rating, but if you max it out, it'll definitely be enough to make a noticeable difference, because you only need a few hundred points of critical rating to get a good crit rate chance. So definitely something to use while leveling. And then you go to Misty Knight. The thing about her, even though we already talked about her, she actually shoots a gun, and her damage is phenomenal. She does a shockwave at range, which is kind of like 3 electrical pulses that go out from her, kind of like in Diablo, the way Diablo himself attacks. And then she does that gunshots, and she shoots everything. It's phenomenal. She's awesome. You're going to notice a big difference just going with 1 point, even if you had 10 points over here. Just 1 point in her, she's a big difference. And then you got, of course, that Hero's Call. And what this does, it adds a nice passive effect for whatever pet that you have out there. It gives you a bonus. And then you can, once every 2 minutes, summon all your pets, as long as you have at least 1 point in each pet. You'll summon all 4 pets. Actually, I don't even know if you need the 1 point. It just says it calls on. I never tried it without it. but I would assume you need 1 point in the pet. Everyone seems to be saying that. And then for a limited duration, 10 seconds or so, all 4 pets are out there attacking. Very nice boss ability. The next pet you get is Jessica Jones. That's why she was removed from the Avengers Tower there. She was with the reporter Ben Ulrich. And she, again, you know, once you go for Misty Knight, put a point in Jessica Jones, you're going to notice a huge difference. She's got a bigger health pool, 3,000 health, a bigger defense rating, 1152, some more damage, 234 to 351, and then every now and then she jumps up and slams into the ground, and it's a lot of damage. She's very, very good. I actually, with the build choice I go with, I liked her better than Misty Knight, because Misty Knight usually killed stuff before I could. Jessica Jones still will do that, but she only death from above is like once every 10 seconds or so, so you'll get to kill some things. It's kind of a funny thing. The next skill you get is Business is Good. You can put points into here for plus more credits per drop. An interesting ability if you're using him for a farm build and you're looking for credits. Very strong passive ability. Otherwise, it's not really that much. Tactical defense. This is like tactical offense. You can have it active. And, oh, I forgot to tell you that tactical offense, if you hit it, it resets the cooldowns of assisting hero's special power. So, like her death from above would get reset. And then tactical offense, if you use it, it taunts everything for 3 seconds, which is why I say he gets pretty tanky. He's got a full active taunt. And has an aura effect of plus 288 defense and 168 maximum health. So both of these aura effects carry over to your pets, to your teammates, so they're pretty good. And then finally, the last pet at 28, this is the last skill you get too, is Colleen Wing. And she is absolutely phenomenal. She doesn't do any super crazy things like death from above or the lightning shockwaves. But what she does do is she deals 20% more damage to bosses, elites, and champions. And she's got a multi-strike. So what she does is she charges around and just starts attacking. She's very, very good single-target DPS and pretty decent, actually, AoE DPS because she keeps charging through and she does so much extra damage to the speed bump mobs, basically bosses, elites, and champions. And you know, she's a phenomenal pet. You don't need any of these other ones. If you like one and you just want to keep it, obviously do it. I would only suggest keeping 1 pet maximum. And then, if anything, use a plus grants to boost them, or plus bonus. And you know, that way you're going to save on points and you'll have a set build that you can play with, and then you can augment it by increasing other things. But I would suggest Colleen Wing. She kills non-elites very well. Martial training. So this is where we're getting into kind of his melee. Both trees really are melee. I mean, street brawling and martial training are almost one and the same. It's just a different style of fighting. Depending. Street fighting is considered a style of fighting, so one of the first melee basic attacks, or openers they call them, is Savage Beatdown. Very nice skill. Hits really hard. It'll kill whatever it hits. If you crit, you do some extra damage with it. It's very nice. If you get a high crit rating, it may or may not be able to pay out more than some other skills, but I'll get into that in a minute. And then every time you use it, you get a combo point. This works kind of like rogues from World of Warcraft. You get combo points, and then you get finishers, and you get to spend them, or like the assassin from Diablo. So you also get this finisher, Harlem Dropkick, which does a pretty decent amount of damage, and for every combo point you spend, it does extra damage, up to 100% extra damage, and it does a knockdown effect. So your combo points are kept down here, and you can have a maximum of 4. The next skill you get is another finisher. It's Dempsey Roll. This is actually much more powerful than Harlem Dropkick. It does more damage anyways. It felt that way. Physical damage is 627 to 691 or 93 per hit. It hits about 6 to 8 times, pretty much. It does a big flurry. Increases your dodge for a short duration, and it's pretty nice. Cold Shoulder. This is going to be the preferred movement skill, whether you want to charge out of a location or if you just want to gain an extra boost of speed for a short duration. This is what you're going to use. It does okay damage. It does knockdown, which is kind of nice. And then just by using it once, you get at least a 15% move speed for 4 seconds. So it's very good, very handy. So if you're charging like away from a boss attack, you can run back faster. Very handy to have that ability. This combo fighter here, this is another skill. It's a passive. It's pretty decent. Basically, every time you use a combo finisher, you get a bonus effect. So you get a static critical hit damage bonus of a percentage based on your combo skills. That's a very nice thing because it's percentage based. It's not damage based, so the coefficient doesn't apply. And that's a very handy thing to have. And then say if you use that Dempsey roll, which I liked, you get plus 80 damage rating for 15 seconds. That's pretty cool. Harlan Dropkick gives you plus critical rating, and Cage Fighting, which is on the other side, gives you attack speed. So it's a very nice, for at least 1 point, you know, it's definitely worth it. Accelerating healing factor. This is not as good as anyone else's healing factor. It's probably one of the worst healing factors out there, as the regeneration rate just doesn't go up much, but it does go up. And even at 25 health per second, you know, that's 1,500 health a minute. So that's better than a piece of gear will give you at this level for the most part. Well, maybe not 30. But, you know, you get this around 20, so it's definitely better than a piece of gear at level 20. And it also increases your maximum health, which is awesome. And this affects you and your allies. So it affects your pets, it affects your group mates. And I mean, he's a great tank to have, or an off tank to have. Because you only need 1 point in tactical defense to get the taunt. You can still use tactical offense. You just have to, you know, basically bard it and toggle between which one you want. So he's very utility based, more utility based than I would have thought. This quick roll could be a movement attack option if you're looking for movement AoE style. This would be it. It scales pretty well. It does really good damage. The roll itself does damage, and then at the end of the roll you pop up and do a kick. So if you can learn your spacing and timing right, I mean, you can just kill everything with this thing. Otherwise, you're going to be running away from everything and then do your big attack. So it's a little bit difficult in that way. I wouldn't recommend going that route, but it's available to you if that's what you want. Then finally, you get this passive, which is definitely a 1 point wonder, and you know, more points are better. Unbreakable Skin, it gives you a huge amount of defense and some projectile deflection chance, and a lot of it for just 1 point. Each other point does not really raise it too well. At least at level 30, I can't take the skill high enough to see a huge change. It's only like 20 defense per point. So, you know, to me that doesn't really warrant a lot of points. But I'll get into that with the build that I'm going to do. And we'll go into Street Brawling. Man, does he have a lot of skills. You start off with Free, this chunk of concrete. It's basically a ranged attack. You throw it. A decent ranged attack to have. That's all I can really say. It's great at low levels. At higher levels, it kind of fades away. And then you'll get into this Chain Yank. You don't say get over here, kind of like the Mortal Kombat Scorpion dude, but it is a ranged ability. It generates combo points, and it basically does pull an enemy towards you. I wasn't a big fan of it. It doesn't work quite that well. It's kind of like the grappling hook from Black Cat. It's a novelty type thing. It wasn't really functional. Cage was here, on the other hand, was highly functional. The only thing that sucks is it's like about a second to a second and a half charge up, and then it slams the ground, and it slams the ground. As long as you keep points into it, it'll always slam the ground, at least up until level 30, with enough damage to totally take out white mobs and you know, do a good chunk of damage to blues. I use it to clear white mobs, and then I go to my other attacks to kill blues, elites, champions. And Colleen Wing, I mean, she can solo a boss almost. She's pretty tough. And then you get into this belt buckle. I would immediately go into this belt buckle over the Savage Beatdown. The attack area on it is bigger, and the damage is pretty much similar. And the vulnerability, the extra damage it takes, lasts for a duration, and it's very group friendly. So it's also probably one of the higher group friendly things. Your pet takes advantage of this. Your friends take advantage of this. If you're in mid-towns or anybody else takes advantage of this. X defense, the whole thing, you know. So it's definitely got a strong reason to have if you are group friendly. If you're solo more, you know, another skill is going to be better for you, and we'll get to that in a minute. Then we get this superhuman leverage, and if you're going all out DPS, you'd probably want to go with this because you could up a different thrown item and it will do some more damage when it critically hits. And basically this tough skin allows you to critically hit harder and increase your tenacity. So it gives you plus critical hit damage, not percentage based, so this is affected by coefficients. It gives you some tenacity. And with points, the thrown weapon damage goes up, and it goes up pretty decent. The next skill you get is going to be cage fighting. This is probably my preferred finisher. It's pretty easy to get to 4 points. Every combo point does extra damage. So at 4 combo points, you do 100% extra damage. And at rank 1, that means you're hitting for 1800 to 2400 damage twice. And then finally an elbow drop that does 2800 to 3700, 3800 damage. So it's a lot of damage, and it's a lot of damage early, and it's great single target. Because we got Cage was here, we got AoE, and this is what's going to help burn down blues, elites, champions, along with Colleen Wing. We move into the final melee opener, they call it, or basic attack. So this will generate a combo point, and it does a physical damage, 1200 to 1550 damage, and it deals extra damage to bosses, elites, and champions. This is my preferred skill because I kind of solo a little more, so I have my buddies left. And it does the most damage, and it's a lot of extra damage, not just counting the 5%, just the actual damage, 1 for 1, is a lot more. And it's only 0.1% attack speed slower than belt buckle. So, you know, it's a very strong skill. And finally, I think 26, you get vehicular manslaughter. You basically generate a car, pick it up, and throw it. So it's definitely a fun skill. It's got a 12-second cooldown, however, and a 30 spirit cost, and it barely does much more damage than Cage was here, which is the downfall. However, if you buff superhuman leverage, you will get a lot more damage out of it. So that's it for the skills, besides Sweet Christmas, which is his ultimate power. So his ultimate power does a huge hit, 7 to 10 grand, big AoE, and then you get 788 critical rating, 750 damage rating, 788 brutal strike rating, so you're going to brutal strike a lot, and a 1500 defense rating, and that lasts 21 seconds. I don't know why it's 21 seconds. I must have plus duration. It's probably a 20-second skill. So it's actually a pretty sweet ultimate. And that's it for the skills. So I'm going to go into the build, and I'm going to call it the Power Man build because it's going to be based more on him and less on his pets. And the primary thing I'm going to go with is a crowbar beatdown. You know, I'm doing 1500 to almost 2000 damage, and I'll definitely do more to bosses or around that to bosses. I'm going with Cage Fighter. I'm going with Cage Fighter because the passive effect of Combo Fighter is giving me an extra 10.3% attack speed. So I'll be swinging at around 2.4 attacks per second with the Crowbar Beatdown, getting me more combo points so I can do another Cage Fighting, because Cage Fighting does so much damage. So it's kind of like, it's almost a synergy between the three, just keeping it going. And this is for obviously heavily hit-pointed mobs, blues, yellows, bosses. And then we're going to go with Cage was here. I already said how phenomenal it was. If you look at it, yeah, rank 10, that's 24 to 3600. That should wipe out any kind of white mob at your level. And it will do really good damage. You might have to do it twice if you're doing like oranges or red terminals, higher waves of X defense. You know, it's not going to probably kill out things that are getting super buffed, but it will do pretty good damage to them. And then we are going to do Accelerated Healing Factor. Now, as I said, it doesn't do a lot. So at rank 9, it's about 40 health per second. But that's 2,400 health per minute, so that's not too bad. And it's 400 extra hit points. Hit points in the game are God. Healing is God. You know, so it's minimalistic. Yeah, I get it, but it's necessary. Any extra health you can get is awesome. And then we're going to do Colleen Wing, of course. This is going to be my primary pet that I want out. You are more than welcome to pick whatever else pet you think you like better. I just like her because she helps kill bosses that much more quicker, and she does more than adequate attacks and defense against regulars. So I like her. And then I'm going to finish off with actually tactical offense. I said tanky. I didn't say full tank. If I was going full tank, I'd definitely go with tactical defense. But it's just not a lot of defense or a lot of health for me to pick it. I really want that crit rating and the movement speed. So that's the skills that I'm going to primarily pump up. The 6 skills, you get 120 points, so I always do 6 skills usually. Sometimes some characters warrant a split skill. I really don't like that, especially with the new grant skill system. You can get a lot of grant power, like at higher levels, up to 20. So you don't have to split skills anymore. And you can maximize the effect of the skills that you primarily use, which is what I'm trying to do. But I will put a point in Hero's Call. And there's going to be a lot of 1 points in this guy. It's just crazy. I will put a point into Jessica Jones. I'll put a point in Misty Knight, just to make sure that I have them come out. And I believe when they come out, they are at the level that they're listed, which is why I think you need 1 point. I could be wrong about this. Some clarification would be nice if someone could post. But I do believe they will at least come out at the power listed, so 1 point doesn't hurt, especially by the time you're higher level. You're going to have, you know, 5 cosmic items. That's at least +5 to everything. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do 1 point in Combo Fighter just to get the effect. I'm not getting a lot of extra attack speed. I'm basing this effect off of my build, which is basically I want that 10% attack speed. It doesn't go up enough per point spent, and the damage goes up basically 2% extra damage per point, and I'm not really worried about it because I'm not going to have a massive critical chance rating. If I had a super high crit chance rating, I would suggest maximizing this out. You know, if you're critting 40% of the time, you're definitely going to want Cage Combo Fighter maxed out and maybe sacrifice something else. But then you're going to be going again towards a more DPS oriented Luke Cage. We're going to do a point in Cold Shoulder and a point in Unbreakable Skin. Why a point? Because it's only 20 extra defense per point spent, and that's just not enough to dump points into it. I'm getting 620 for 1 point. I'm getting 20 for every other point. I'll spend a point and take it. And then finally, Superhuman Leverage. Even though we're not really using the thrown items too much, I want the critical hit damage for 1 point, you know, and the tenacity for 1 point. It's kind of free. So I'll do it. and that is my Luke Cage Power Man build. So I'm just going to confirm it. Obviously over here I'm going to put my crowbar beatdown. I'm going to put my movement skill over here, which is cold shoulder. I'm going to get my pet out over here and get rid of this pet. The pet stays out quite a while. It does go up. I don't know if that's just because she dies or if it times out. There is no time duration listed, but I have a feeling that there might be a time duration on it. And then my primary attack was Cage was here, and then my combo spender is Cage fighting, and tactical defense actually, or tactical offense I should say. I don't really reset their powers. I don't think it's that great of an ability for 20 spirit, but I'll take the crit chance. And I think that's it. Oh, hero for hire. So unfortunately, he doesn't have any breakout of crowd control effects skills, but he's still pretty good. As far as gearing goes, get into gears. Obviously, I'm going with the Relic of Lemuria. I personally am going to go with this relic on every single character I got because health coming in is health coming in, and the way the game plays, you need health regen. And that's the primary point of Starstone Tooth. I had it early. It's awesome. Obviously, as you level, it starts getting less and less and less. But at 14% chance of 240 health, it basically turns into 30 health per hit. A little bit more, 35 maybe. Dr. Octopus Metal, I'm using a lot of AoE, including the crowbar. It's affected. Cage fighting is effective. Look how wide that cage fighting is. I can hit 4 blues on me if I got them on me right. And obviously it's affecting Cage was here. Obviously a Sabertooth could help you out. A Taskmaster could help you out. The Grim Reaper I don't think you're going to need. You know, it doesn't really... There's times where I run out of spirit, but it's really not detrimental. It's basically when I'm spamming Cage was here in huge AoE fights. And then I'm using a Yu-Gi-Oh's Charm. I like an upgraded heroic Yu-Gi-Oh's Charm, obviously. But, you know, there's a lot of melee damage going on, and health regeneration is awesome, so I take it. I started converting over his costume from hit to crit rating because I want some more crit rating on him. And, or health, I should say. And the plus health, you know, at level 60, it's about 1,000 health. It's just not. They kind of nerfed it too much. On the weapon, obviously the plus physical attack is nice. The plus attack speed is really nice. That's a lot of attack speed. And then anything else you can get on the weapon is good. You do a lot of primary attacks, basic attacks, so health per hit is also nice. And then with all the gear, you want plus hit points and plus hit point regen, and then anything else you can get. So there's my 5% power duration. That's how it happened. That's why ultimate's 21 seconds. But it's always hit points, hit point regen, and then anything else that you can get. The grants, you should be able to get hit points, hit point regen, and 2 grants abilities. And you could have a total of 4 grants. In the vehicular manslaughter is one that's good for grants. Hero's Call is good for grants. Superhuman leverage, unbreakable skin, combo fighter. All those are very, very strong usages of plus grants. Here we go again. Hit points, hit point regen. I got 2 grants, but you know, it's Cage fighting, which I'm already putting points in, and Colleen Wing, which I'm already putting points in. This was awesome when I was leveling at level 23 because it gave me Colleen Wing, but it's still awesome because it's got a large amount of health regen and a large amount of health. I'm going with special item find here, and this is +2 to Colleen Wing, so that's a bonus. I really like hit points in here. It's hard to get hit points in these off items, but here's one with 475 hit points, obviously pretty nice. bonus to superhuman leverage and combo fighter. So, and with special item find, I go special item find now because I just want the splinters. I'll buy heroics or cosmics when I want them. So that's what I do with the splinters. And that's Luke Cage in a nutshell. So I'm going to finish up here. I'll end this, and then I'm going to go ahead and do some green terminals. I'll do some orange level, and I'll do some green level, and show you guys what it's like. So hope you enjoyed, hope it helped, and I'll talk to you guys later.